It looks like someone's got some unfinished business here. Yep, Australian driver Daniel Ricciardo has declared that he's still got a lot to wrap up in Formula One despite falling out with McLaren. You've got a lot of questions, we've got all the answers. Why did he reject McLaren's offer to join the constructor's IndyCar team next year? Is he still on the hunt for something? Stay tuned to find out. First up, Zak Brown confirmed the news of an offer. Now, the McLaren Racing CEO has talked about this offer publicly a lot of times. It's been on the news, and we know it. Right after a pretty underwhelming season and a half in McLaren colors for Ricciardo, it's now confirmed that the team and driver are going to go their separate ways at the end of 2022. And despite the highlight of victory for him at the 2021 Italian Grand Prix, you gotta admit that such highs are pretty rare, so the confirmation of the split, which was even rumored to have been coming, isn't the biggest surprise for us. Adding that McLaren has described it as a mutual decision. That's even after Ricciardo's "the team has decided to make a change" line suggested that the choice wasn't really in his hands. Guess it wasn't so mutual after all. Right after his statement was out, Brown replied saying that it wasn't a secret that they hoped the team and driver could achieve a lot more together. And the McLaren Racing boss even confirmed that a drive in the IndyCar series was put forward to Ricciardo. Obviously, that was in itself a clever move to keep him in the McLaren fold. At the same time, Ricciardo's current focus is sticking to Formula One. Having said that, Brown confirmed that there's always going to be a spot for the driver in McLaren, but it seems like he's got a real desire to continue in Formula One for now. Coming up, Daniel Ricciardo's focus on Formula One. Now, his time at McLaren has definitely not gone the way either he or the team expected it to, but it's still going to be pretty hard to believe that the 8-time race winner has refused to a stage where he can't offer anything worthwhile to a Formula One team. In fact, Ricciardo and teammate Lando Norris have spoken up about the McLaren car not matching their driving styles as they hoped. At the same time, Norris, who's been in McLaren's lineup since 2019, clearly seems to be able to adapt to it better than his much more experienced teammate. On the other hand, Alex Albon, who's less experienced than Ricciardo, also serves as a good example of a driver who went from being dominated by Max Verstappen at Red Bull to pretty much establishing himself in Formula One once more with a strong season at Williams. So clearly, not all hope is lost for Ricciardo. And the Aussie recently referenced an example to demonstrate that another door could open. Obviously, he was hinting at how Sergio Perez was seemingly off the Formula One grid at the end of 2022, right up until Red Bull snapped him up to replace Albon. With that said, Alpine, Haas, and Williams are all potential options for Ricciardo if he really wants to stay in Formula One. So maybe he's right to stay focused on the series despite the disappointing end to his time with McLaren. Moving on, that's probably why he rejected McLaren's offer. Alright, so McLaren and Daniel only got 12 months remaining on the contract, so clearly 2022 season is his last for the team. Now, the 33-year-old has won 8 Grand Prix races ever since his Formula One debut in 2011, and now he's going to receive an 8-figure payout from McLaren somewhere in the region of $14.5 million. In fact, rumor has it that he's going to be replaced by the young compatriot Oscar Piastri, who's also the Formula 2 reigning champion and Alpine's current test driver, although some reports even say he might be replaced by AlphaTauri's Pierre instead. And before sacking the Perth driver, McLaren chief executive Zak Brown even made a pretty desperate bid to keep him on the team roster by offering him a seat in United States' leading single-seater championship, none other than IndyCar. According to Brown, they've already talked about it, and as Andreas Seidel mentioned, Daniel's an exceptional driver, and any team would be honored to have him drive for them. With that said, his focus won't really shift from Formula One. Now, the Aussie has a close affiliation with the United States and is also a lifelong NASCAR fanatic, so that should make him an immediate superstar if he joined the IndyCar team Arrow McLaren SP. And the American fan base would have definitely welcomed him with open arms, given that he's sort of becoming a cult hero on the Netflix documentary series Drive to Survive. What's more, Ricciardo seems like a man on a mission with some unfinished business. Now, we all know McLaren could have saved millions if Ricciardo had accepted the IndyCar offer, but he's fiercely determined to stay on the Formula One grid. At the same time, he still sees himself as more of a fan of Indy. Plus, he feels he's still got some unfinished business in Formula One. It seems like there's a lot more of Daniel that we're gonna see. In fact, he says it's why he's kind of got blinkers on for Formula One still, and is trying to make it work here before he goes on to invest time in something else. Right now, his most likely option for 2023 seems to be former team Alpine, which was also previously known as Renault. In fact, it's where he spent 2 seasons in 2019 and 2020. Now, we know it's sort of a backward step if he's planning on rekindling his partnership with Alpine, but it also seems like the most logical destination for him. At the same time, he's got quite some competition because the vacant seat is probably going to go to Gasly, and that's why the Aussie is going to be looking at signing with AlphaTauri, Williams, Haas, or Alfa Romeo. With that said, he won't be making his final decision on his future until after the grueling triple header wraps up in Italy next weekend. Following up, questions raised at his tenure at McLaren. Now, we're specifically hinting at Zak Brown's comments when he said that the tenure had not met expectations, followed by a potential potential availability for 2023. But in the weeks leading up to the French Grand Prix, Ricciardo took to his phone to wrench back control of the narrative and try to silence the doubters. There's definitely been a lot of rumors about his future in Formula One, which he also addressed in a tweet last month. In fact, he said that he's committed to McLaren until the end of next year, and he's not walking away from the sport. Right now, he's working as hard as he can with the team to make a few improvements to the car, but he still wants it more than ever. But while the rumors surround the potential ambiguity, fans were still confused after his tweet. If he's still staying with McLaren, is he talking about the Formula One team or their IndyCar team? And if he's not walking away from the sport, was he referring to motorsport in general or just Formula One? To clear that up, he released a statement saying he's not going to get out of Formula One because of some unfinished business in the sport and with the McLaren team. Adding to that, he says that he's not backing down from any challenges. Clearly, Formula One means a lot to him, and while he's trying to address the concerns about his future in the sport, he still needs to make a final decision. Finally, looks like Daniel's going to make a decision now. Daniel says it's going to be going on for at least the next few weeks. Now, he doesn't want to make any quick, rash decisions, and he definitely wants to see how he'll feel once all this dust settles. In fact, by the end of the triple header, he feels like he's going to get a bit more of an idea of what feels right. The major focus for him right now, which he also wants his fans to know, is that he still wants to keep going in Formula One, and that's probably the positive side that he wants to put out there. Having said that, he said that there aren't any guarantees, but we gotta wait and see what'll happen next. Now, he won't be holding anything back, so you can expect an announcement pretty soon. Once he's made his decision, it's not long before his fans will hear about it. But until then, let's just hope that Daniel makes the logical decisions about what's best for his career, whether that's Formula One, IndyCar, or any other racing series. That's a wrap for this video. What's your take on Daniel Ricciardo's unfinished business and his future at Formula One? Do you think he's going to switch teams or stick with McLaren and shift to IndyCar? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.